Welcome to Retro Perspectives. The harsh conditions of war put human beings in a desperate fight for survival. The difference between complete victory and total annihilation can rest on a nation's ability to use science to affect the physical world to tip the scales of battle in their favor. Today, we're going to explore some of the great examples of those in World War II and how this affects us today. Here are 4 groundbreaking technological advancements of World War II. On the 6th and 9th of August 1945, the US did something the world has never seen before and has not seen till this day. 2 atomic bombs were dropped on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan, flattening the cities in an instant, leading to the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people. This forced the Japanese to surrender, effectively bringing an end to the bloodiest war the world has ever seen. Till this day, this remains the only use of nuclear weapons in armed combat. So how did the US manufacture these weapons of mass destruction? And why did the US get to these first? Well, this required an enormous effort, a network of high-tech labs, over 100,000 workers and scientists, $2 billion worth of investments, and several tons of uranium ore. 2 cities were chosen to house the processes integral to the development of these bombs. The first was Oak Ridge, Tennessee, which was surrounded by around 59,000 acres of farmland and wilderness. Here, the workers would separate out uranium ore. Hanford, Washington was also selected because of its 500,000 acres of isolated land bordering the Columbia River. Here, the workers created the new element, plutonium. This event propelled the world into the atomic age. 2 bombs were developed in case one didn't go as planned. And as a result of this, nuclear proliferation spread across the globe. As of today, 9 countries are in possession of nuclear weapons, with the US and Russia being top of this list, with their number of nuclear warheads far surpassing those of the other countries. Combined, these countries have enough weapons to destroy the world many times over. Scary stuff. Computers. In the 1940s, the word computers referred to people, mostly women, who would perform complex calculations by hand. In World War II, the US started developing new machines to do complex calculations for ballistics trajectories, and those who had been doing the hand calculations took up the jobs to operate these machines. The University of Pennsylvania worked on an ENIAC machine, which was capable of performing thousands of these calculations per second. Key figures who actually worked on these early machines would then go on to develop the foundations for modern computer development. For example, Jean Bartik would go on to lead the development of computer storage and memory, and Frances Elizabeth Holberton would develop C10 for BINAC, which was the prototype of all modern programming languages. Across the pond in Britain, a man named Alan Turing also helped develop the electromagnetic machine called the bomb that helped crack the German Enigma cipher, which was used extensively by the Nazis for top secret communication during the war. Technically, the bomb wasn't a computer, but it was the forerunner to the Colossus computers, which were then used to break messages encrypted with the German Lorenz cipher. So let me get this straight. We created machines to make it easier to defeat our enemies in the war, and now we have iPads, MacBooks, TikTok, and this YouTube video? Science and technology is undefeated. Radar technology was also an underappreciated technological marvel arising from the pressures of World War II. Simply put, radar is the ability to use radio waves to detect objects at a distance. The first practical system was produced in 1935 by British physicist Sir Robert Watson Watt. And by 1939, England had built a network of radar stations along the southern and eastern coasts. This played a crucial role in the Battle of Britain, allowing the British to monitor and detect German air attacks, giving early warnings of incoming air raids. By the way, I also live in Britain, and the UK Battle of Britain is one of the stories of World War II that really resonates with me. So if you would like to see us make a video on that, please let us know in the comments. MIT's RAD lab also played a huge role in the advancements of this technology. Originally, it was intended to be used as a weapon. The initial idea was to send a beam of electromagnetic energy at enemy planes to kill the pilots. This didn't work, but then a bounce back signal was received, and instead this inspired the scientists to come up with the idea of using radar as a detection system, so similar to how sonar uses sound waves. Among some circles, it's actually thought that radar helped the Allies win the war more than any other technology. Trumping technologies such as the jet engine, the atomic bomb, and so on and so forth. No easy feat. And after the war, radar had numerous non-military applications, including guiding civilian crafts, meteorology to track storms, television, microwaves. Funny story here actually. The microwave was actually invented by accident in 1945 by a man named Percy Spencer, who was the engineer leading a radar project for the defense conglomerate Raytheon. When testing a new vacuum tube called a magnetron, he discovered that a chocolate bar in his pocket had melted from the heat. He did more experiments on this by testing popcorn and eggs, and what do you know? We now have microwaves in most houses in the West in 2023. Fascinating stuff. The impact of the war on medicine and healthcare was also unprecedented. The Spanish flu pandemic of 1918 and 1919 had a huge impact on World War I and motivated the US to develop a vaccine. The virus killed between 25 to 100 million people, mainly young adults, in 3 waves. Outbreaks occurring in nearly every inhabited part of the world, with the virus spreading from the ports and then from city to city along major transportation routes. The increase in global transportation around this time was also thought to be a huge factor in the spread. Scientists first isolated the flu virus in the 30s, and the US Army helped sponsor the development of a vaccine. The US first approved a vaccine for military use in 1945, and then for civilian use in 1946. Fun fact, one of the lead researchers was a man named Jonas Salk. He actually later developed the polio vaccine. So now we have flu shots every year as the standard medical procedure, preventing thousands of flu-related deaths every year. Interesting. The widespread availability of antibiotics was also an incredibly important leap for mankind. That was a result of World War II. So before antibiotics, simple cuts and scrapes in the skin could lead to deadly infections. The first antibiotic, penicillin, was actually discovered by a Scottish scientist named Alexander Fleming sometime around 1920, but only became medically mass-produced as medical treatment in World War II. Penicillin was observed to reduce pain, increase the chances of a soldier's survival, and made it easier for doctors and nurses to actually care for the soldiers during the war. It was seen as so critical that in preparation for the D-Day landings, 2.3 million doses were produced by the US, and propaganda-produced posters in the US at the time touted the mass production of penicillin as a race against death. During the war, it was mainly used to treat venereal diseases such as gonorrhea and syphilis, which had been the bane of many armies for years. And after the war, civilians actually managed to gain access to this life-saving medication, and penicillin also became the precursor to many antibiotics that we use in widespread use today. Brilliant stuff. And that brings us to the end of the video. If you liked the video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.